A quick video on the Manix 2. I just did a previous video of this in the stock form. The S110V, with the skeletonized liners with the blue purple G10. And I did a nice 9-minute video, changing these scales out, showing you the techniques. The easiest way to get them off without distorting the G10 and ruining the flare tube, the lanyard tube. And the camera was pointed like this, so it's what it is. The main thing when you're putting on aftermarket scales, especially ones that are stiff like this, is this. If you tweak, and when you pull off the front screws, and now you're trying to get this off, the liner is still on like this, and you pull up like this, straight up, you're going to bend this flared tube here, and you're going to destroy your stock scale. You can see this one's almost in perfect condition, and so isn't this one. You can always tell when they've been leveraged or warped. So you slowly rotate it and you pull up, or you put a piece of wood in there so you don't scratch the liners, and you wedge up on it while you're turning, and then that just pops off the flared tube because it's flared on the very tip here. So as you can see, this one's flush. Another gentleman did a video, I think, putting these scales on. You can actually see what happens. There's a gap. This knife will move in the back because there's only the 3 screws here, and usually the flared tube is holding the G10. So just something to think about. I wanted to show it how I did it. It came out perfectly centered. I mean, it's kind of a novelty because it will scratch really easy, but it is very unique how you could see the whole working mechanisms, and it does take up the liners and the G10, and it's very, obviously very strong. So this does show you the inner liners of the Manix 2, the skeletonization. And if you do one scale at a time, take your time and once again work that lanyard tube off nice and slowly, you won't have any issues. And then put one of these scales on one at a time. Just snug your screws down. Don't over tighten them, because this is a little bit of a press fit right here onto the pivot collar, and you'll have yourself, and you won't do any damage to your stock scales if you want to put those back on, and you'll have yourself a cool little knife here. It is Karbadize at Instagram, and I'm pretty sure he's got some stuff on Blade HQ. These were $65. They did come with some standard headed screws. I use the stock flared that they seem to work perfectly into the countersunk holes on the scales. And he did have WIA bits, 2 WIA bits inside, the bag with a little microfiber cloth here. Karbadize Clear scales for the Manix 2, Spyderco S110V.